Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Ugly Truth. Today, we're going to be doing an ugly truth about traditional family values. I come upon this topic because I have had so many people reach out, schedule readings based on the relationships that they have with their family. And unfortunately, the family has been completely ripped apart. And now parents who have given up their lives and would die for their children not wanting anything to do with them. The children being brainwashed into this new society, this new wokeism that's going on in the world. And because of that, kids don't find it necessary to keep in touch. They don't call their parents anymore. We've had Pluto in Capricorn since 2008, and it will be there until November of next year. We had a little bit of a taste of Pluto in Aquarius starting in March to June, and then it went back into Capricorn. So you kind of got a little, it kind of let off a little bit, and then it went back into Capricorn and made things even harder. It will leave again next year and go back into Aquarius in January, and then it will go back into Capricorn to finish out its stay in November. And then from November until 2044, it will be in Aquarius. Now, with that said, what is Pluto? Pluto is about death, decay, and destruction, okay? It's the great destroyer. It's secrets. What is Capricorn? It's government. It's the patriarch. It's the traditional family values, which, what has Pluto done? Completely destroyed. Look at how everybody is at Christmas. Nobody wants to celebrate anymore. That used to be an old tradition where we had family reunions. Do people even have those anymore? Do people even go to funerals anymore? All of that has been completely destroyed. Now we have everybody running around, fending for themselves, looking for a new tribe. And unfortunately, I don't want to say unfortunately, because, it's not about blood is thicker than water anymore. It's about honesty, integrity, loyalty, and unconditional love. And there has been a lot of water under the bridge with a lot of the parent-child relationships. Children are, how do I want to say this, Spirit? When we were kids, Gen X and above, we didn't have child protective services. We didn't have counselors at school telling us our parents were drug addicts for smoking cigarettes, and we didn't have people telling us that our families were abusive. When we got the crap beat out of us when we were little kids, we just dealt with it. And if we had problems, we didn't go to counseling. We handled it on our own. Moving into the millennials is when CPS became much more of a interference, and counselors telling these kids that your parents are toxic and that you can't love them anymore, and it's best to get away from them. So there's been this, again, Capricorn government push to segregate children from the parents. So that's where CPS comes in, right? Child Protective Services comes in, pulls a child out from the home, and now you are stuck in the government system. Pluto is also about power and control. So now you have this court system who is basically writing out how you have to raise your kids, what you have to do with them, all these legal services who are now involved in your life, and you can't just live your life anymore. So that has gotten these kids to where, especially the millennials and Gen Z, to where they believe that their family is a tyrant. Because you have, again, this outside source who has been implemented into the family has now told these kids that you can't love your parents anymore. They're bad for you. You have a mental illness. You have PTSD because of your family. We all have PTSD because of our families. The difference between the Gen X and abovers and the millennials and below is we didn't have somebody else telling us that. We dealt with our shit and we moved on. We got our asses beat when we were children. That was a tradition. In fact, there's still schools to this day that use corporal punishment on the children. But in other countries, in this country, you're told that if you spank your child, that you're a child abuser. Not that I condone beating your children and that kind of stuff into submission. But at the same time, they also nowadays have no consequences to their actions. Hence why they're able to walk all over their families now. Walk all over their parents who have given them everything. And you have parents who are fighting in court over the children, and really it's because they hate each other, but the children are collateral damage. So again, there is so much division in the family unit because court systems have gotten their nose in where it doesn't belong. They've taken over control, power and control, government, Capricorn, Pluto, power, and now they've taken over family systems. Indoctrinating children in school, telling their kids. I mean, what do you think the DARE week is all about? The raising awareness for drugs. They're just trying to get out of these innocent children if their parents are doing drugs, because if they are, and a child comes in and says something, then they can call Child Protective Services. Now you've got the state involved in your family, and now everybody's running scared, and they can come in and take your kids at any point in time. It's a business. CPS is a business. They're in cahoots with the court systems, which are in cahoots with the government. It's how that we separate the children from the parents. Because if we can't get the children one way, we're going to get them another way. And now you've got parents who are running scared. You've got outside entities telling children that their parents are toxic and their parents are bad and you should stay away. And why? So that they can indoctrinate them anymore. Uranus is about perversion, and it's in Taurus, and it's been squaring over to Leo. Leo is what? Children. Does that make sense now? So now we have this perversion over children. You got that whole LGBTQ community. You've got the whole wokeism. You got everybody calling the kids calling parents racist when the parents can actually see through the bullshit that's going on. But the kids, they don't know any better because they just started at this point. Us as parents started back here. So we're able to visualize and see all the corruption that's going on. But because the children can't, it's easier to segregate them and have them fight the wars against their parents. People ask, when is this going to end? It's not until the rest of us stand up. Until we stand up against the court systems. Until somebody finally wipes out Child Protective Services. Because obviously they're not helping the children. Look at all the children that are coming up missing. What are they doing with them? Right now in Ukraine, you know what they're doing, right? You know what they're covering up over there. They've got baby farms over there. Underground. Where they've got bits and pieces of children and they're growing new children. That's what they're hiding over there. It's not just bioweapons. And so what are people not wanting to have anymore? Children. What are they doing? Keeping them from getting married. Because the whole wokeism, right? We don't need to get married. But then there's the people in our generation who still believe in that. Who still believe in that family unit, having a strong family unit. We don't have strong family units anymore. We're being divided because of our belief systems. We're being divided because of, not wanting to take the liquid, if you know what I mean. Being divided because of politics. They want us all fighting against each other, and it's working. It's dividing families, and it's going to take a very long time to put it back together. So I have all these parents calling me, what do I do about my children? Well, unfortunately, you're going to have enough confidence in your parenting skills that you have instilled them with a moral compass and instilled them with a really good head on their shoulders and given them all the tools that you possibly could have in order for these kids to go off and live a really good life, and hopes that they don't fall into any of the traps. But we all know how we were in our 20s. We knew better than our parents. Well, now we're on the flip side where we're parents. And our children are doing to us as we did to ours. And if you were lucky enough to where you could have had a relationship with your mom and dad and still do, then kudos to you. But the rest of us, not all of us were so lucky. I know myself, I've had nonstop division in my family from the day I was born. I was separated from my birth mother, then put into foster care, and then separated from them, and then put into another home where I wasn't loved. And then in order to save my own life and my own sanity, I had to run away. I had to get away from all of that. And that's what kids are doing now. The only difference is I had to come to the conclusion myself that there was something wrong. Now, you've got somebody else telling your kids that there's something wrong. So planting seeds and watering them for them, and the more they hear it, the more they think, wow, you know what? Yeah, that really did happen. Did it really happen, or did somebody tell you that it happened? Because if you tell a lie enough, eventually it becomes true. I have a lot of parents, including myself, who fought in court for our children, only to have them turn on us. What can we do about that? Not a whole lot. You just have to know that you fought as hard as you could, and now it is up to them to go out and live their lives and make decisions for themselves. And it's not up to you what these kids do anymore. It's up to them. So wish them well. Ask your guides, angels, and ancestors to protect them on their journey in hopes that it leads them into helping and not hurting themselves. It leads them into amazing careers, entrepreneurial goals, starting their own businesses. Wish them well. And one day, if you don't burn that bridge and you keep that door open, one day they'll return. And they're going to come back and they're going to have their own viewpoints. And they're going to have their own ideas and their own inventions. With Pluto and Aquarius, everybody wants to be free. They want to rebel. That isn't going to stop. It's only going to keep going. And the whole emphasis on the children isn't going to stop either for a really long time. So all you can do is, there's a few things you can do. You can take them out of school. You can homeschool them yourself. But if that's just a temporary fix, because they have their own ideas. They have their own natal chart. They have their own destiny. They have their own mission. And sometimes that's away from us. And if you can honor where they're at on their journey, whether or not you agree with it, it's only going to make things easier on you. Sometimes I wish instead of my family, making up shit about me and constantly slamming me with past stuff that hasn't happened in over a decade, it would be nice for them just to come to me and say, hey, Mom, you know what? Here's the deal. I have new favorite people, and you're not one of them. So, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and take a long vacation away from you, and I'll be back when I find it necessary, or when I want to, or never. We'll see. Instead of hurting the other person and saying horrific, mean shit to them to make themselves feel better about why they're doing what they're doing. Because sometimes it's best just to not say anything at all unless you're really just wanting to hurt the other individual. Okay? Especially when a lot of the time we bring up a person's past, which that person has grown so far from their past. And I know a lot of these parents that I've been working with, we all have a story. We have our drug days, we have our abusive days, we have our not so good days, we have days where we were stressed, we had, even years where we were stressed, where we were running off adrenaline. That's how it was designed, to stress us out, to create a catastrophe in our family life, and then everybody will disperse, and now they're all free game. But instead of bringing up a person's past, why can't we just be respectful and just say, hey, things are getting too intense right now. And I feel like I need to pull back and I need to reset so I know which way I'm going. So please, I'm under construction right now. Respect me and let me move forward, and I'll get back to you later. That's an honorable way of doing it. But unfortunately, we're not given that respect, and instead we're being slammed. And it hurts. If we didn't have this thing called the human emotion, we'd be fine. We'd be like, all right, no worries. See you on the flip side. But instead, it's painful. And it does, especially as a mother. You carry a child under your heart for 9 months and raise them and give them everything, all your time, all your money, you invest in them, you fight for them, just to have them turn around and turn on you. And for what? Because of schools indoctrinating them? Because counselors told them that you're bad? You reached out to a counselor to help your child, and instead that counselor hurts your child. This is why, for me, I do not believe in therapy. I do not believe in counseling. I don't believe in people who have never gone through an experience telling me how to go through my experience. And until you have gone through my experience, when I get through it, come back and ask me how I did it. I had a counselor one time. I was sending my daughter to a counselor, and this girl was like no more than 25 maybe. And she was trying to tell me how to raise my kids. And I laughed and I said, sweetie, do you have kids? She was like, well, no. I said, do you have brothers and sisters? No, I'm an only child. So you took a test that says you know what the fuck you're talking about, and you think that it's okay to tell me how to raise my children when I'm trying to tell you what the hell's really going on in my family life? Until you've had kids, don't come to me and give me advice. But come back to me later and I'll tell you how I overcame it. That's when the student becomes the teacher. It's not because you graduated that you know what the fuck you're talking about. So don't blindly hand over your children to somebody just because they have a certificate that says they know what the fuck they're talking about, because the curriculum that they're learning comes straight from the government. And that test is a government subsidized testing. So you keep that in mind when you hand over your children so blindly to these school counselors, because they're owned and they're not for the parents. They're for the government. So as far as our traditional family values goes, there is no more. And if you have the opportunity to hold on to your kids and they still have love and respect for you, more power to you guys, and I hope it stays that way. But besides that, we've got, people running for refuge right now because, they're burning down people's homes. The government's taking over and the people are running for their fucking lives. So families are being separated that way, where you're having to leave your country to seek refuge. There's a lot going on right now. You got lands being taken over by government officials. So these people are being forced to move from their home that they've been in for, decades upon decades upon decades. There's not just one way of the traditional family values that are being completely ripped apart. It comes in so many different ways. Because I don't believe in taking the, you know what? My kids got mad at me. Or not my kids, excuse me. My family got mad at me. Well, sorry. I'd rather lose a friend than lose my life over something that I knew wasn't. I mean, look around. Look around at what's happening now. Leo also rules the heart. Uranus rules the fluctuation of the heart. What are you seeing right now? Children dropping dead. There's another separation in the family. This also rules orphans. We got a lot of orphans right now. Not just over this, but over many different things that are happening. Look at what just happened in Maui. Full families desecrated. And for what? A land grab. This is how our traditional family values are being completely ripped apart. And if you think it's going to end, it's not. This is just the beginning. It just started. It's going to take time. So my advice to you guys is if you want your families to come back together, then understand where they are right now. Let them go off and do what they need to do. And as I said before, surround them with protection. Ask your guides, angels, ancestors, universe, God, goddesses, whoever it is that you believe in, to protect them on their journey. And no matter what, even though you can be angry as hell right now at the family who's turned their back on you, show them unconditional love and forgiveness. Forgiveness for yourself for choosing this lesson and to incarnate at this very moment in time. And choose forgiveness for them for not seeing the person that you are and how much you truly love them. And at the end of the day, our children and our families are not collateral damage to us as they are to other people. To other people in the government, they don't even have a name. To us, they're family. I love you guys all so much. I hope this message helps. If you need any help with any of what you're dealing with your own family, please feel free to reach out to me. I am here for you guys. I love you all so very much. Thank you to everybody who has purchased me a cup of coffee and who has donated to my channel. I really do appreciate it. Yeah. Unconditional love. Check me out on Facebook and Instagram, and I will be back with another Ugly Truth soon. Take care.